Yo guys, so the other day I got a message in game by another player who asked for some help and advice on trading. After helping him out, I thought that would be a good idea to do the short video about this. So hopefully I'm gonna keep it concise and just share how I deal with trading. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to cover any other topics. So let's start. I'm gonna first go through buying gear, then I'm gonna go through selling gear, and then I'm gonna discuss some tips on how to avoid scams. Buying gear is basically simplified to these few steps. You pick a slot you want to upgrade. I use weighted sum version 2. Don't ask me why. Prioritize stats that I need. I assign weights based on that. I look at the pricing depending on what kind of budgets I have. And then I sort by price, stat value, time listed, and I go through it. So I'm actually going to do a live sample of me looking for an upgrade, just exactly how I would go through it normally. So this is the helmet that I'm looking to upgrade. Let's look for something better. So step 1 is to go to the trade.2 search PoE2 standard. So this is where basically you do your trading. So if I'm looking for a helmet, let's change the item category to helmet. I'm looking for something better than my current helmet. So I'm going to add minimum item level of 79 and above. I then look through all the rest depending on what you need. So for a helmet, I don't need anything else. I'm going to first look at pricing in Exhaled. Let's say my budget is 50x. So I'm going to put that here and then I'm going to click search. If I have a starting point, such as my own helmet, I would actually do a few additions, but I want to go through from somebody who's just a beginner. So I search for helmets and we see that we have a lot of rare, not rare. Okay, we're not interested in these. So let's change that to just rares because I don't want any unique helmets. And then let's do that search again. Now we have some items. Let's sort it out by price. So this is the best 50x helmet according to the random sort that we just did. And actually, if I look at these stats, I like these stats. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on this button here, filter items by stats, which adds all these stats to here. I don't need to manually add this myself. This is what I usually would do. I have a lot of searches like this set up already for all my various items. You can see at the top left here, boots, belts, etc. But this is the best way to do it quickly from scratch, basically. Once you have all these in, you need to change the end to weighted sum v2. And then you need to assign weights. So maximum energy shield 1, maximum life 1, mana 1, intelligence 1, fire resistance. So let's say I need more fire resistance and I need more lightning resistance. So I'm going to put bigger weight on it. At the same time, we're missing cold resistance because the item we used as a reference does not have it. We're also going to put this. What else are we looking on our helmet? We're looking for chaos resistance, which would be nice. I also value it higher than there are other stats. I would also like maximum energy shield. So we value that normally. Here we can also add minimums. So if, for example, if you don't want anything lower than 25 of the resistances, you add 25. You set this up and you click search. Still have loads of matches. It's not really useful. So what we're going to do is we're going to sort it out by the sum. So according to the weights here, this is the best helmet that provides the most stats for the price budget that I'm looking for. But at the same time, this has increased armor and evasion, which is not a stat I'm looking for. Here, on the other hand, we have one with all the stats that I'm looking for. If you're looking for strength, you can add strength. If you don't care about intelligence and strength, for example, you would put strength here as well. Value it the same if you value it the same as intelligence. And the more stats you're looking for, the more you can add here and the better it will be for finding the best gear for the given price range. So right now, when I sorted by sum, this is the best helmet right now according to this, but we can also customize this further. So for example, let's say that our current helmet has a total stat line of 450. So let's say we're looking for an upgrade. So we add 460. Now we're only going to see items that are 460 total or above. Here, suddenly we have significantly less matches. Now let's say that I want to have a triple res helmet. Everybody wants a triple res helmet. Then what you would do is you would add cold resistance, lightning resistance, fire resistance as an and, as well as the weighted sum. And then you click search. And now you see all the triple resistance helmets available. You sort out by the sum. So for 40x, you can buy a 558 stat line average helmet. This is not bad. Let's actually remove the pricing. So the best triple res helmet available on the market right now is this one here. It has armor, which is not really needed. So this doesn't actually add to the total because we're not looking for it. But it has good mana life and all triple resistances for 70x, which is not too bad. You can also see that there's similar helmets that cost 200x or priced at 200x. And this is essentially how you find your gear. You first find the base item that you can use as reference. You add it to the weighted sum. You put the weights based on what you prioritize. Let's say that you really need to have fire resistance on this helmet. So you would put, or if you really need the fire resistance, then you would add it as an and. But let's say you value fire resistance more. Let's say you are almost fully capped on lightning and cold, and then fire resistance is more valuable to you. You would change it to a 3, a 4, a 5. Really depends on how much more valuable it is than another stat line. You shouldn't put something like 10, 15, 20 unless you're super highly valued stat, such as let me think of like cast speed on rings would be super highly valued stat. You would want it more than the others, so you would value it higher and you would put a higher weight behind it. If we go back, so pick a slot you want to upgrade, use weighted sum 2 v2, prioritize stats you need, assign weights based on what you need, look at the exhaled orbs or divine orbs, depends on your budget. It's a good idea to always check divine orb pricing as well. So we see that the best triple res helmet was about 70x with a sum of 591. If we put the divine pricing in now, we're going to see a completely different set of helmets. And if we sort out by the sum, we see that actually one of the best in the market right now with all the stats that we want is 25 divines with a total sum value of 645. This sum value is the total value of the stats that it counts. So it counts cold resistance as 2, it counts intelligence as 1, and the total stat line is 645. So the weights that you put in is extremely important to find the right item that you're looking for. So yeah, you check the divine pricing, you check the Excel pricing, you sort by price, stat value. Then you can also see time listed, which is a useful way to check what was recently added. You can very often find cheaper deals that were recently added. So we're looking at the divine pricing now, which is, yeah, these are very overpriced. I believe we saw we can buy a 550 plus helmet for 70x or less, and this is for one divine. It's not a good price, but going through it like that, and you kind of get the idea of the item you're looking for, the pricing, and then you can find the best one that's available on the market for the price that you're willing to pay. Okay, so now when it comes to selling, there's essentially 2 ways to sell. Don't use the number 2 way. I'm gonna share it anyway because that's just how a lot of people are doing it right now. For more informational purposes, I don't recommend doing that. It's annoying, and if you're doing this. So the good way to do it is you manually or with add-on check prices for similar items. You list the item for what you want for it. You wait for messages, you sell the item, and you profit. If you don't have any messages, lower after an hour, couple of hours, couple of days, depends on how long you're playing, depends on like your own choice essentially. And then keep lowering until you do sell the item, until somebody messages. If you leave an item for 1x and nobody messages you for a couple of days, just vendor it or disassemble it. It's trash, nobody wants it. Look for better items. The other way, the FU way, is you put the item for 1x. If it's very good item that's underpriced, you're going to see a lot of messages. A lot of messages to the point where you can get disconnected from the game and the whole game crashes. Then you increase the price. You still get too many messages, increase the price more, repeat until you get no instant messages. Then wait a few days. If nobody sells, if you can't sell the item, slowly lower the prices until no messages. Don't do this. It's annoying. A lot of scammers are using this method. Just don't do it. So these are the ways to sell. Let me go back to the game and give you an example using my stash tab. So I have this stash tab full of crap that I'm selling for 1x. I throw anything that's worthwhile. I usually throw it in here for 1x. If it's 1x, if it's worth something more, then I try to increase the price. Let me see. Some of these items are very overpriced. I just don't have the time or the patience to individually check all items. So here's an example of a chest. I think I started selling it for 4x. I kept lowering. Now it's at 2x. Nobody's buying it. I'm gonna lower it to 1x. And hopefully somebody messages me. If not, I'm just gonna get rid of this chest and I'm gonna vendor it. That's pretty much the way to sell. So now let's cover the final point. What are the signs of a scam and what are you going to need to avoid? So this part is where a lot of the annoying things come from trading using the website. There's a lot of people that try to haggle. Very often that's a sign of a scammer. Not always. I've messaged a few people myself trying to buy something for a bit less than their selling price, but usually that's just a sign of a scammer. If they spam you with messages, for example, you've listed an item and you got loads of messages or same guys messaging you 20 times in a minute, it's usually a sign that you're underpricing it or that the guy is again trying to scam you. White messages with changed pricing is a common way to trick you into selling an item cheaper than what you posted it for. Always make sure that that matches what you're trying to sell. I usually don't even respond to white messages, so this is a choice you can make as well. Wrong item, so it can be the same item. Let's say you're buying a chest, Ghostrite, and it puts a different item that has lower stat line, but it's the same item. Always make sure to check that you get the right item that you're trying to buy. Sometimes you'll see people posting items for 1x or severely underpriced items. These guys are usually scammers or gold sellers or similar. Block them, avoid them. Maybe you can get lucky once or twice finding an item that somebody's selling really significantly cheaper than it's worth, but most often that's just a sign of somebody who's scamming, or they're posting the item for super cheap to get a lot of messages, and then they reply to you saying, oh, the item is actually sold for 5 divs or whatever. Just ignore these people, add them to ignore list so you never have to see them again. Swapping out items, currency, etc. in the trade window is another way that people try to scam you. Always check. That's why you have the whole mouse over before finalizing trade. Always make sure you check that you get the right item and the right currency for what you're selling, buying, etc. Wrong currency, so a 10 div item puts 10x and then accepts trade. Sometimes people do trades on an autopilot. It's a very common way to get scammed. The solution for all of these is just this. Click, ignore, report, and just be done with it. Don't try to reply, don't try to respond, discuss, or anything like that. Just ban these people, ignore them, report them, and hopefully we can clean up the community. And that is it. That is the way I trade. I don't have the most currency right now. Most of these divs I've actually found. I think I've earned 3 or 4 divs worth of items over trading over time by finding a couple of items, etc. You kind of forced to use trading if you want to upgrade your gear. At the same time, you must use trading using premium stash tabs. If you don't have those, you cannot trade, which is, yeah, let's not go into that. I think everybody should have at least one trade stash that they can trade from, but then I understand the consequences of botting, etc. But yeah, hopefully this helped you. If you want to know more about trading or about anything related like this, please let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed, and peace.